most picked hero so far. We won't be seeing. He's only 2-7, surprisingly, at this tournament. What do you expect in the early phases of the draft from these two teams?
Yakiro?
There we go.
Yeah, that's definitely a very solid opener because I feel like he's able to roam pretty well. He is hugely impactful in the laning phase, starting from the get-go. Right, many of the other laning phase supports we talk about, they're actually not that impactful at level 1. Yep. Sometimes it's like level 2, Clockwork, Spirit Breaker, those kind of heroes. Jakiro is extremely strong at level 1. Dual Breath does an amazing amount of damage. So I think he's just a nice, solid opener that doesn't give away anything.
Maybe the hero of the tournament so far. And
easily.
Thinking about the tree being left on the table and where they value this in terms of, say, as an answer to living armor in some sense, or having again the versatility that Cap mentioned, like can lane, can roam, can hit buildings out of the support position, can counter initiate, can be a combo as well. Just a very versatile first pick to build around in the same way that we've seen Sand King, for instance. As well.
Oh wow!
I saw Clock and I was like,
unreal.
Oh, Clock SF.
I mean, NewBee going back to a combo that Alliance has been using so often of late, and it does give Shadow Fiend off to that very fast start at level 1. You get the souls from denying the cog, so he gets a laning advantage. I don't know about that though. Shadow Fiend, a hero that is vulnerable to these early mid rotations. Jack, you used a phrase that I like a lot in hero of the tournament, but when a lot of people use that phrase, they mean an individual hero that's won a lot. Troll. Oh yeah. Hey Cap, you were calling for that?
Yeah, I had the T, man. I think Troll's great. I think Troll, you probably wanted to secure one of the big important cores that you think are very relevant to this meta before the 3-4 bans. Because oftentimes I look at the 3-4 bans more so in this tournament than most others, and I see like a lot of bans that are actually like really on point. Sometimes you see 3-4 bans and it doesn't really matter because a team doesn't know exactly what the other enemy team is really thinking. But I think we definitely pinpointed some very key heroes for this patch so far, and Troll is certainly one of them. He's definitely one of the better heroes to go up against SF because he's a fighting hero that is able to secure you late game advantage over an SF.
But so one of my favorite things about seeing the meta develop in the early days of a patch is early heroes like Troll often get their early positions in the draft because they punish other heroes that are really good very badly. And Troll can man-fight Ursa, he can man-fight Juggernaut, as we saw in the previous series. The question I'm going to ask you guys is, what punishes Troll?
Reserve time.
Nothing.
We're back to 6.84 now, is what you're saying. Troll sniper every day.
I mean, Troll doesn't have too many weaknesses. I think being able to have, I think you need a good amount of magic damage to punish him because he doesn't like to go for an immediate BKB. But as we saw, like if you go for an overly large amount of magic damage, he gets to level 25 and he gets that 20% magic resistance, which covers a lot of bases for him. You need a lot of kiting mechanisms, so mobile heroes, supports that are able to have strong disables or escape mechanisms for allies are good. It's kind of similar to an Ursa, right? Troll operates so similarly to Ursa. He's a Roshan hero. He's a hero that you need to be able to kite around. He's very single target focused, locks onto one hero and doesn't let go sort of idea. So you just kind of treat him like that.
It's a hero that you maybe want to throw a couple wrenches at in lane as well. You puts pressure on you in terms of you could lose Roche at any time, and so if you can keep him off of that. Also, I think maybe the popularity of some heroes like Legion Commander in the last patch could have had something to do with it. Being able to hold him in place with the usual build-up, being able to use his own damage against him, so he's not just kind of running around doing as he pleases or just man-fighting or killing your other crucial heroes. I had expected Shadow Fiend also to be a bit of a benefactor of this patch in terms of obviously the extra creep mid, the being able to nuke waves out, the being able to head to the jungle, take advantage of all of those as well, and in terms of a hero that scales pretty consistently throughout and actually ends up transitioning a little bit from like a heavy magic burst core to being able to supply that physical burst as well. So I expected to see more of him. Also interesting is the first two offlane bans coming out from Faceless, and so they, maybe you would have expected like a bat or something early on for NewBee to secure their offlane position. They used to tend to pick KP's hero very early on in drafts, and maybe after playing against the Clockwork Rubik yesterday, And if their plan is to tri-lane, which is pretty frequent from NewBee, then something like a Clock can get a better matchup one-on-one against another hero that the other team is using. So I think NewBee are taking quite a bit away from that second game that they played against in the Vega series yesterday.
Yeah, Jack, you just made two superb points there in that. And number one being, we had talked as an issue for NewBee coming into this tournament about the importance for them of getting SCCC back on these farming and scaling heroes. And certainly Shadow Fiend fits that build, and you're guaranteeing him an early laning advantage mid by drafting him alongside the Clockwork. And the other thing is the offlane bans. We saw in the previous series that these two support opens are becoming more and more common. Both teams in their first phase, one support and one core, and you're seeing Faceless, not surprisingly, then bans the two big laning supports. NewBee uses their bans on the offlaners. That's a little bit surprising to me, because Ice can play anything.
Especially since the 4 positions, I think, are pretty key here when you have an SF on your team. SF, Clockwork especially, heroes like StarLadder and Tusk are particularly valuable because you're able to have this roaming momentum into the mid lane that can cut down on the early souls. Hell, Tusk is like one of the best heroes to have in like minute 0 engagements, right, because of the snowball. So if you have an aggressive smoke gank and are able to catch the SF, like boom, you take away his souls that he gained from the Clockwork cogs. Like those kind of heroes, I think, are particularly important to make sure that your mid matchups are good.
Yeah, I was really hoping to see this hero featured out of Faceless at some point in the series. It's a hero that they've had tremendous success on in the past, and I think it's just so strong. When you talk about the importance of shutting down that Shadow Fiend mid, especially with the early advantage, having the threat of that Ogre roaming getting in his face is just what the doctor ordered.
Well, shout out to the casters. We have to mention this, but Faceless going with the 4-head lineup here.
Yeah, there you go.
Of course, those two memesters over there.
They just had this gleam in their eyes. It was like,
oh, yeah.
Hey, man, it happened. It happened. The Ogre Troll pairing is pretty common. We see this quite a bit, and can also help with that mid lane as well up against the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend doesn't like to have someone sit in his lane and kind of just force him to maybe AFK a little bit, puts that pressure, and then the Ogre has been a staple, like very high value pick in SCA for a long time, especially with Faceless. Sometimes you'll see teams ban this out first phase against them as well. So
I'm not sure about this Pudge pickup. I had a feeling they were going to go for a 4 position and go offlane Clockwork. I'm not really feeling it because I like what Faceless are setting up right now. I feel like it's a little bit reminiscent of what we had from Liquid, where they had this Jakiro and Ogre Magi being able to do so much in the laning phase, and they've got a very strong 1v1 safe laner in their Troll. You can try and run aggro tri-lane if you want to give a Clockwork a 1v1, but I'm pretty sure you don't beat that because Jakiro and Troll are such strong laners.
So is your concern more just the early laning configuration that Pudge may disrupt that?
I don't think Pudge is going to be able to do enough for you. And I think that Clockwork is not going to be a strong enough like 1v1 hero. I don't think you can aggro tri-lane into this Troll because of the supports, and I don't think you can in which case you have to, this Clockwork goes up against the Troll, the Jakiro and Ogre are free to like sit on mid, like we saw Liquid do with their Ogre. They just kind of sits on mid and goes to bottom lane as well. And so you're enabling this Tinker. He's not going to feel a whole lot of pressure from the ganking duo of Rubik Pudge because he always has help in that area. And then I think it was pretty clear Faceless were going to go some sort of like larger carry mid. I think they're focused on getting laning phase and securing late game at the same time. Just like we saw with the Lone Druid OD sort of situation, right, where it was just like secure lanes, have better late game. It feels like a very strong 1-2 punch in the draft.
All right, I think you've convinced me, because I was looking at that and I'm going, people talk about ease of execution, but that's a double-sided coin. If you're very confident in executing this Clockwork Pudge combo, you can separate the enemy team during a fight so well in the mid game, but you have to be able to obviously get through the laning phase in order to do that.
And I would say easy execution for laning phase is to Faceless's advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
In that regard, and that it's like you're a big dumb ogre, and it's like, well, what you gonna do? Like you can make all kinds of positioning errors on Ogre and Jakiro.
Oh no,
and it doesn't matter. Right?
I mean, we saw that with Liquid yesterday, right? Kuro just walks into the enemy jungle. He died like 4 times in the first 15 minutes of the game, but it didn't matter because he was creating so much space. By that time, he dies a bunch of times, but Bristleback's got mech at 12 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I am slightly concerned.
Makes me sad, by the way.
Yeah, I thought you would like that. I'm slightly concerned that like a hero like Darkseer wouldn't do enough for them, but Then again, I've been wrong about that before.
What, Faceless?
Yeah, like I feel like they need more of an active initiating type offlaner that is more of a tempo controller. But failing that, like Darkseer is one of the obvious heroes left out there.
It's ice, ice, ice. So I don't know that it's
Learned
great
some
in this
Elder
situation.
Titan recently. I wonder if they might consider
you go.
that. Not that many teams play that hero, but he kind of goes like a fighting build on it as well, and it's got some counter initiation and some combo potential. So
I did get buffed.
Perfect.
The
I'm glad Jack mentioned that.
Oh, I've been waiting for this hero to come in.
Oh, I don't know.
That is definitely a tempo offlaner.
Yeah, it's gotta be a 3, and roaming is so much riskier now in 706. So I don't know.
I wonder if NewBee had wanted the Ursa. I'm not sure with the. I think the Axe ban kind of led to the Juggernaut ban, and Faceless thinking that they would go ahead and take the Juggernaut. But I'm not sure the options left for Mugi in that situation.
Oh, so this is a hero that I'd hoped we'd see today. Lifestealer, I think, just has a ton of potential in this meta. Both of these drafts, I think, seeing all 10 heroes now are what I would call high risk. Between the Pudge and Clockwork combo, a lot of potential but difficult to execute. The Knife Stalker off lane, which has to roam, but roaming is really risky. Who do you guys like in this first game?
I think I like Faceless' draft a little bit more. The Night Stalker is the key to the whole entire lineup, I think. Everything else looked good. It's just a question of whether or not the Night Stalker works. But then again, I think most of these games have been won by the team that plays the fastest, and that's definitely going to be NewBee in this game. It should be anyway. They have a very fast, like Clockwork, Lifestealer lineup. So I'm going to lead with NewBee here.
I think Faceless has a steadier draft. NewBee is going to need a lot of big plays from the Clockwork or from potentially the Pudge. They're going to need to be very efficient with their timings on that Lifestealer and ganks. They need to control the pace of this game, which puts the pressure on them. And you know what? Based on what I saw yesterday, I'm going to go with Faceless for this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Jack. I think that 5th pick Night Stalker is risky, but again, I believe in Ice, Ice, Ice and his ability to just judge the game situation and make those early rotations work. And I think if he does that, that they have the kind of draft that we've seen succeed in this patch. Guys, this is going to be a great game and a great series. We're going to get you underway off to game 1. Here are our casters, my favorite pair of pasty white guys, Coddle Guy and Lacoste.
Thanks, Nahaz and panel. And I think it's more fair-skinned, right? You don't have to go pale. Straight up ghosts here on the casting panel right now.
I'm white. You talked about you had the Irish roots as well.
Yeah. I'm almost clear. That's how white I am. All right, folks, the countdown has begun. Lacoste, this is an action-packed draft. We get treated to a Pudge game, our Night Stalker game. A lot of the panel felt like Faceless had more of a well-rounded draft, and the pressure was going to be on NewBee to maintain the tempo of the game. What are your feelings about it, and do you agree with them?
I like Faceless draft more, to be honest, especially with the Night Stalker pick. He can provide the vision, especially for the Clockwork and Pudge when he gets the Aghanim Scepter. NewBee's draft relies so much on hitting those spells, Clockwork Hook and Pudge Hook, so team hookers, I guess.
I like that. Out on the corner or not, they are looking to get the execution done here onto Faceless' side, while Faceless have more of just that burly, broad kind of support team between the two-headed friends here, the four-head I love to call it. Ogre and Jakiro are just the bullies of the situation and kind of do as they please because they have so much durability behind them. It's really hard to punish them, and typically when you do punish them, you're investing so much into it that it almost does you more trouble than good.
7 heads are smarter than 5 heads. I can hear NewBee over here saying, give me head, so it would be 6 on 6.
Yeah, I hope that's not what you heard. It's going to get awkward on the stage
maybe my Chinese is not the best, but they managed to take down the ward already. Nuts got it.
Yeah, an early takedown, and the top vision game for NewBee is going to be a bit in the dark at this moment. We're looking at the lane spread right now, and it's looking like a possible 2-1-2, but we'll have to see where the Ogre is going to be making that early game impression. And on the side of NewBee here, we have both Pudge and the Rubik for now just kind of flirting around that mid lane as well. I don't know if they're trying to get some sort of early head start or what the real initiative is here. Kaka's here, though. What did he level up? Yeah. Is he going with the early hook? No, he went right to Rot, so he's here to just zone back.
Yeah, he needs to help out Shadowfiend, who is vulnerable to those early ganks. Has 13 souls from Cogs. from Clockwork, but Pudge not that much of a harasser on mid. He will just be there, like try to.
He doesn't have the blessing of the Ogre where you get that 8 armor or whatever it is. Ogre's happy to swing in the level 1 game against anybody out there.
I mean, Ogre is stronger than Pudge with a stout shield and has a better harassment, so maybe forcing Rubik to be there on mid would be a better choice.
So they're going to continue to have their 2-on-2. Nuts letting the team know, I'm going to go ahead and take care of the pull camp here and try to get the creep equilibrium better for Black and under that tower. The one-on-one matchup between the Clock and Trolls, one we haven't seen. I mean, we haven't even been seeing a whole lot of off-lane Clock. This is almost a flip of the script here for NewBee. But what do you think about that matchup, Clock versus Troll?
Well, Clock does good, especially when he burns his mana. Also, he manages to pull the lane back, and with Ogre being on mid, he can get some easy levels on top. Same goes for Night Stalker on bottom. Lifestealer and the Rubik can't really kill him at the early levels. They're level 2 right now. Rubik has a TP scroll ready if they decide to dive either top or bottom. Or mid or top, sorry.
It did look like the pull camp actually wasn't there and available for that top lane, so Nuts didn't have much to work with. So now the pressure of the lane is really moving forward, and this is a lot to the benefit of KP. He's going to have to work with under the tower and being able to get some free boosted last hits and perhaps some XP, allowing him to get to that 6 faster. First hook of the game, at least that we're going to be able to catch witness of, is a miss. Kaka try to get an early snatch right there, but he'll have to take his business elsewhere and towards that bounty rune. And we'll continue to try to stay off the radar and make a unique approach to Faceless in the laning game if possible here. Same goes for XY. He gets his own bounty rune and will take his business probably back towards the mid lane or where attention is needed. Yeah. Just feeling more emphasis on having a secured laning phase in this patch really than any other patch, I feel.
Yeah, Ogre seems like a strong pickup in this patch, especially for the roaming purposes, and you have that mid-game Bloodlust as well. You just need to harass the mid early.
How is the importance now? Night Stalker, okay. The first nighttime, I remember back in the day, used to be extremely critical for a Night Stalker to kind of meet that quota of getting a gank in, getting a kill, and making the most out of that first nightfall. Is that still relevant at all? Like, what do you think Ice is going to want to do to be able to get a lot achieved in that first night? We may actually have to put this on hold. We're having a current rotation coming out from Faceless here. A smoke set up between Nuts and XY, and they're looking to make the move on to SCCC, and they're going to be able to get it with the help of Jabs coming out with the laser and the rockets. They will get it done. Rotations do come out as Faith shows up on his Rubik, but they are not going to be able to counterfire at all.
Support on NewBee on early levels is not that great. They have Rubik who has telekinesis, but it's not. They don't have enough damage with just a Shadow Fiend and Rubik to even kill one. Even if Rubik TPs, there's not much he can do. But look at all that slow and the damage over time from Team Faceless.
Yeah, it's.
You were talking about Night Stalker, what he needs to do during the first night. It's gonna be ready in 10 seconds. He doesn't still have a shrine, has a mango, so I guess he's gonna rotate the mid once again, try to shut down the Shadow Fiend, or if they want to do is try to go on bottom with Ogre and him.
That is kind of
try to get a pick off on Rubik.
An unfortunate mistiming for Night Stalkers, really, with that shrine not really kicking in for the first 5 minute until the 5 minute mark, and they have that Nightfall at the 4 minute mark. It means they kind of have to wait the extra bit of time if they were hoping to kind of rejuvenate a bit from the laning stage. But here we go, Ice on that first Nightfall, and look at it, he's actually going to catch the courier right behind, and he'll be able to bring it down. Nice grab there. Kaka, though, is going to be able to connect with the hook and pull the Batman right under the tower, and more rotations are coming. KP shows up, launches out the rocket to help maintain vision, and Faith will be there to finish him off.
Yeah, he didn't have eyes on the courier. He just tried to dive the tower. Maybe they could have waited. Oh, nice hook.
Right at the end of the rope there. They're going to get the grab pullback on Jabs, and he is done for. Good setup from Kaka. Already, the Pudge mid-game paying off a bit here. He gets 2 back-to-back convenient setups. So in that heat of that moment right there, do you think it was worth it to kind of just get the courier taken down? You get money a little bit to everyone on the team, and of course, Shadow Fiend is not going to have access to it.
Yeah, he could have run top instead because Clockwork doesn't threaten
Faith's
him.
Done for.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. They just happen to catch him in crossing, it looks like, and when you're caught between an Ogre and a Night Stalker who is in the midst of a nighttime, Rubik doesn't really stand a chance. Pretty simple enough. We'll touch base with the CS game right now. It looks like the Lifestealer currently sitting way up at the top, 34 and 20 denies. And then the Troll creeping right behind Black's 31 and 14.
Yeah, you want to have those denies. He's almost level 6 at 6-minute mark. That's pretty much perfect. If Rubik rotates bottom right now, or Pudge, they can get easy kill on that Night Stalker.
We are seeing the Ogre also come towards that direction. They dish out the scan. They're going to get a positive read. Kaka is around. He is camping down onto that rune, saving it out for SCCC if possible, and they can't really do anything about it on the side of Faceless, so they'll have to let this one slip. And Faceless will have to look for other new opportunities here. There's still some time on this night for Ice to get something out of it, but knows he has to continue to bring in the levels, though, to make the most out of it. Looks like he's going to be tagging that Shrine and going out for a new adventure, possibly through into that mid lane. But top lane, we got the Kaka pullback onto Nuts, and he is stuck in the enemy side and going to be taken advantage of by 3 NewBee members. Nice takedown once again for NewBee, and they will pull ahead 3-2.
This Pudge is all over the place. Top, mid, mid lane.
Yeah, good rotation in. We already discussed Ice, making that long rotation over, and it's going to prove to be successful. A takedown of their Shadow Fiend is a much worthier trade for Faceless over the drop of their little nuts Jakiro.
Oh, that's nuts. Probably NewBee will smoke right now with 2 of their supports. Clockwork is still not level 6. He needs a few more creeps.
Yeah, getting that hook shot would be very beneficial. This hook, not going to get the catch here. Black's Troll just a little too slippery right now. We already know how fast that Troll can be, and able to juke and jive within those hooks is going to be very beneficial through the remainder of this game.
There's no stacks in the forest for both teams. I mean, usually when you're playing with Shadow Fiend or Tinker in your team, you expect to have some stacks.
Head-on collision between the support staff of both sides as they smoke and meet one-on-one, and it's going to be XY who gets shredded apart first. They're looking for Nuts, but it's KP jumping the ropes and going for jabs on the back lines instead. He's trapped under the tower right now and eating the March of Machines, but they are going to be able to get the takedown to Jabs. A very worthy one. Nuts able to help get the finish at least onto KP, but SCCC will claim the triple kill, cleaning house.
Wow, that Arcane Rune was so big in that fight. Actually managed him to have the lower cooldown on his raises and managed to take down the Tinker. Also, Clockwork didn't want to go for Jakiro. Instead, he decides to go for a Tinker, which is more valuable kill.
Oh, Daryl had tried to rotate on over and catching some of those NewBee stragglers very low on life with the benefit of his ult in nighttime, but they move as a 3-man unit all the way up to the Shrine together, and they have each other's backs to get that health restored, so no opportunity is going to be there for Ice. And NewBee will be able to hold on to their early game advantage at the moment. They do still have some respectable farm on Black's Troll up into the top lane, but we'll have to see what the fight back potential is going to be for Faceless, because I could continue to see this pattern happening for NewBee. They are feeling very good about the rotation power. Kaka is making a serious impact across the game, and they're not letting up one bit. It looks like they're already back on the move once more.
Yeah, hookshot is ready again. They don't have that super vehicle for Nikes. They can use the Clockwork, but that's pretty much it. Deep ward placed.
And they've spotted Jabs. He's simply stepped away from the mid lane. He is going to be able to tag their Shrine, but they might have too much bursting power for him. Or do they? They finally will be able to bring him down. The Pudge manages to get the deny off. Black tries to move into action, but he ends up losing his own life. SCCC puts him under. And NewBee continued to do work. A 1-for-2 trade, very favorable for them. And now NewBee are going to be able to move in and get some damage on this tier 1. That big old black girthy tower, which has been bloodlusted, is going to unfortunately be taking some softening.
During the showdown, we saw NewBee has like 4.5k levels in battle points.
They're very rich.
Yeah, that's a very rich team right there.
Okay, here we go.
Hook shot.
Yep, catching Ice here. Trapped within the cogs and the battery assault. He's doing the death dance, you can call it. SCCC shows up just in time to be able to snag the kill with the raise. How convenient.
Faceless is being outnumbered pretty much every fight they take. It's either 2 versus 4 or 3 versus 4, and it ends up really bad for them. Jakiro struggling to get those levels. Also, Ogre being level 4. Meanwhile, you have you have Rubik, who's level 6, and you have Pudge, who's almost gonna be level 6.
And NewBee are certainly rising quite fast here, and Faceless are not able to really find their own way in building up that early bit of XP. They've been forced to kind of be responders to these early game skirmishes, and they're also not able to kind of pressure those side lanes a bit. You want those levels on the Jakiro so you can get the liquid fire up and be able to at least pose a threat on the objective game at hand here, but they can't even seem to do that. Mugi's kind of taken over the mid lane for now. It looks like he's content on building forward for the Midas game here. I mean, already securing the early game. They have what they feel is a stronger late game presence as well, so they're going to also build up for that.
Yeah. When you have a good start, you can go for Midas. Even if you have a bad start, you can still go for Midas. It's also good.
Oh no, it's going to be Faith this time to drop. He heads up kind of aggressively into the Faceless turf, and will unfortunately be brought down, surrounded by 3 members there. 9-5 though already for NewBee.
Another hook.
Yep, and it gets good connection once again. KP on fire with his setups right now, and SCCC doing a wonderful job KSing it all. Now, he is able to bring in already a serious impact in the game. 7-2-1 on his Shadow Fiend, and we're only just about 12 minutes into this. Okay, the creep helping out Black on that one.
Denied the tower.
Can he get the last hit in? No, Nuts is going to be able to get it done. They couldn't get there and get the deny, and now it's Nuts on the run. KP running around the corner, looking to cut him off. Can he get it? Nuts trying to move through the trees. The hook not going to be there. Faith trying to get close enough to go for the telekinesis. I don't think Nuts is going to find a way out. Eventually, he finds the dead end. They will move in with the telekinesis and help get the finish. Faith will pick that one up with a Fade Bolt.
Again, rotation, 3-4 heroes from NewBee. They're just getting outnumbered again and again. Also, there was a deep ward placed from Faceless. They could actually see the rotations coming from the lane, so they didn't want to pressure the tower, but with Jakiro, you can't really not pressure the tower, actually. Yeah. Well, I love the new name for SCC, maybe KSCC.
KSCCC?
Yeah.
It works. I mean, you can't blame him. Shadow Fiend will obviously take in a huge benefit from scoring all those kills. Just great team communication and great team response play from NewBee already being demonstrated. Definitely have ate their Wheaties this morning from what the NewBee we saw yesterday. Definitely looking a bit more sharp.
Well, a lot of people would agree. Okay, there's a go on the Clockwork on mid.
The big bad Night Stalker with Bloodlust moving in. That guy looks vicious. Clawing his way onto the little Clockwork.
Whoa.
I mean, look at that man fly. It's so scary. Up and above, they are going to be able to get KP down.
I'm wondering if he can fly over the cogs. I didn't have time to test it. This is the first time actually I see Night Stalker flying. This is the cool one.
Yeah, it's exciting. I don't know, to be honest. He is able to kind of utilize the flight to try to get up and over the cogs, but I don't know if he can directly fly through them or not. An interaction we haven't seen too often here. Smokes from both sides here. We have a bit of a do-si-do as Faceless round the corner, and they're going to take the shift all the way down to the bomb. They see Mugi here. Can they bring him down? They got him with the silence. He's going to try to linger around and maybe go for an infest to save himself. Jabs also steps into play. He has those boots of travel. Mugi tries to shrug it off with the back end of a rage, but now finally it's going to be Faceless who outnumber NewBee, but suddenly the NewBee gang show up and they're going to get a quick snag and takedown of the Troll. And now it's going to be swinging for the fences. SCCC dishes out the Requiem and is going to be able to take down the Ogre. Now moving through the skies, it's going to be Daryl. Blasts and finishes off the SCCC. He's going to be securing the double kill for himself. Kaka also very low and on the run, but Daryl is a man chasing. Moving in, sees KP, begins to take him down. Faith trying his best to body block him. Don't do this to my friend. And he's doing it. Moving on in, KP
He's
though.
gonna die.
Oh! Ends up getting dropped the hook. Not quite there from Kaka to bail him out. And now it's going to be Ice 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 moving in. This is technically an ultra kill. 2 double kills for Ice 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 in that fight.
Wow, I'm getting chills from this Night Stalker. 3k gold on him. He can go for pretty much whatever he wants. Seems like it's Solar Crest. He's gonna go for that tower. Is he that strong?
I don't know. It looks like he'll fight. He's not immortal, my friend. Finally able to back away. This 12-minute nighttime, very valuable already for Daryl. He has that toolkit kind of built up between the phase and the urn. But what do you suppose you build after that for your Night Stalker?
Aghanim Scepter definitely just to provide some vision into Gem, pretty classic build. I mean, he can still go for Midas if he wants right now. It's a 15-minute Midas. That's really good timing.
Black back in action here. He unfortunately suffered a little bit of a loss in that previous trade, but he is back on the warpath here. They're just hoping to kind of now do a little bit of what we saw. Faceless, I suppose, can move as like a 4-man team now that they have the boot to travel back onto Jabs and just try to get a lot of action for NewBee and create the space for Black to be a problem in the later game.
KP was creating so much space, especially for the Shadow Fiend, giving him all those kills. But once Shadow Fiend dies, he also gives a lot of gold to enemy team. One thing NewBee can't underestimate is the damage over time, especially Jakiro, Ogre Ignite, plus Urn of Shadows on Night Stalker.
Yeah.
You need to be careful for that.
Should NewBee be considering options like a hood, pipe, something like that to help fend off a lot of the magical power being dished out by Faceless?
They should make one on Pudge. Okay, Pudge already has a Ring of Health. That should be a pipe. Pretty much. That's
or the new Force Staff. You gotta remember that's also there. But,
yeah.
But I would agree that getting the extra magic resistance is going to be pretty damn essential to the NewBee lineup. They are going to be able to score the takedown of Eroge. It's a trade as Faceless will take the tier 2 bottom. Common trade we see, but it is NewBee who will secure the extra life. Now going to be moving in Kaka, Dismember onto Ice, 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 but he calls out the nighttime and simply walks away.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, that's a full crest finished on Night Stalker. 17 minutes in. That's gonna be a big problem for heroes like Night Stalker. For heroes like Nyx, who has 10 armor, he's gonna remove all of his armor.
Even Shadow Fiend not going to be too happy about that crest coming out.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend also sitting on 10 armor right now.
And Daryl seems to be going for the strength talent too, so really kind of bringing in the gains and making the most of that muscle power here. Still working through the back end of his ulti here. Nightfall is about to be unleashed again. Jabs has been able to secure that early get up of your Tinker. He's got the boot to travel, he's got the blink. You figure this is going to be like the Aether Lens Aghanim's kind of a game. Dagon, Sheep. How do you go about your Tinker in this one when you're going against like the Lifestealer, the Shadow Fiend, and plus a lot of people able to dish out some heavy initiation?
He might consider this game actually getting a Force Staff. The big players on Tinker actually get it when they're playing against Clockwork, especially once Clockwork has a Blade Mail, he shuts you down. And Jakiro is right now far away from that Force Staff, so he might actually get one on Tinker as well, just to kite around.
Looked like Ice 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 was actually building into a BKB next, so Aghanim's not really on the agenda at the moment. He's just building up to be a ridiculous fighter or something. He's hit a serious stride from that previous nighttime, and I guess he's looking to take full advantage of the momentum. Here is NewBee coming, though. They want to get a hold of this tier 1. Already Faceless have some members at attendance, but are going to be short some of the members on their team, so they lay down the macro pyre and simply walk away. Risk, worried about the potential hookshot coming in from the dark, plus the Pudge. It's a bit too scary at the moment, so this is looking like a free NewBee siege on tier 1.
That's a big-ass tower right there, bloodlusted.
It's helping out a bit, but eventually NewBee should be able to cut it down.
Well, Tinker should get Aghanims at one point. I mean, it's a melee carry hero plus Clockwork plus Pudge. They're all gonna stick around, just share. They'll get the laser damage bounce.
Back towards the mid lane, NewBee's rotating in after they hit the tier 1 bottom. They see opportunities to maybe get the jump onto Black. He can't quite sidestep the hook shot. It's going to be there for KP, so they trap him within. He pops out the Blade Mail, and instantly Black is going to be taken care of. Whoa. That was a nice quick reaction from NewBee, and they get a wonderful catch all set up for KP there.
BKB is finished on Shadow Fiend. What he wants to do right now with Aegis on, they should just take objectives. Try to go for tier 2 towers. It's kind of hard against Tinker when hookshot is on cooldown, so they can get hands on him, so it will go pretty slowly.
Faceless trying their best to slow the roll of NewBee when they can, dishing out the march and preventing NewBee from trying to advance the pacing of this game. Look who's hiding and waiting from behind here. And Invis Ice Ice Ice, he's stalking the courier and he should be able to get it. Oh, they dish out the burst of speed and juke it within the trees. He sees it there now and moves in and gets it anyways. But can he make it out with his life?
He has no TP. 8
Run,
seconds
man.
cooldown for Hunter in the Night.
Fly away.
Fly.
He's so fast. He is able to round the corner and make his escape. 2 career takedowns for him now this game. NewBee just kind of a bit in a scramble here towards the mid lane, but it looks like they'll finally decide to take their separate ways. Kaka will farm his way through the jungle, but still continues to remain a bit in the dark, so he could be a bit of a concern for Faceless at all times. And he's got his hood complete.
Yeah, they need that pipe and Pudge to fight. Everything is magical damage besides laser and Troll Warlord.
So we're getting back to a more comfortable spot for Faceless here. Since that huge fight, they've still been able to maintain a little over a 3K net worth advantage, but it doesn't feel like they're too concerned about really pushing the pace of the game. We're seeing them take good fights, but the +1 follow-ups aren't totally there. They still have a couple of tier 2s to work with, and they've been, you know, doing fine, but is there a point when you think Faceless are really going to have to ramp it up a bit? I don't know if that's a item timing they're waiting for on Black or
they're just waiting. They're just waiting for Aegis to run out and force staff on Jakiro so he can force out someone when the Clockworks goes in.
All right, there goes the Nightfall now, and quickly Ice gets into action. The telekinesis lift's going to be there from Faith to try to slow them down a bit. Jabs is hiding within the trees. The rockets continue to fly, but Kaka can shrug off a lot of that damage now with the benefit of that hood. It will not be dropped. Now the rest of NewBee members are beginning to rotate over. KP not able to get the catch of the hookshot on that one, so Mugi pops out and begins to go to work onto XY. He gets a helpful Force Staff and makes a bit of space for himself. The March of Machines laid on out with a Macro Pyre is making an uncomfortable fighting area for NewBee, so they're going to be forced to retreat here. Meanwhile, Black gets the catch on the KP and will help finish him off. A long bit of a skirmish there, and only 1 casualty at the end of the day.
Yeah, good kiting around with Night Stalker and Tinker just damaging them. 2 heroes were at 20% HP. They really couldn't fight into that. And Nikes went in. Force Staff is finished on Jakiro. They're just waiting for the good moment for them to actually come to their side. So he forces him when he gets at like 30% HP. Also, BKB is on for Shadowfiend is on cooldown. They might even consider getting that tier 2 tower down right now.
A big pickup, and we saw it displayed there as Faceless were able to kind of utilize the juking patterns of those Force Staffs to create a little bit of beneficial space between them. We're going to get nice and close here, Lacoste, because we both use the middle monitor now to watch this game.
He's the only one left out of 3.
Troll Warlord, no, he has that BKB now done and in hand. He just no longer part of the game, I'd imagine. Means that Faceless can begin to go on the offensive once more. That BKB is getting very close for Ice too, so I imagine that's probably what they're going to be holding out for. Just a little bit more time for him to get that finish. Ooh, a mech. Also going to be completed for XY. This is a good moment for Faceless. These items coming together, but it looks like NewBee are the ones potentially to go on the offensive here.
Yeah, when the BKB is finished on Faceless, on Troll, okay, he already has it. They are ready to fight right now.
All right. Thinking about making their move in, though. Kaka's creeping. KP's got the Lifestealer in his backpack ready to go. SCCC is the one to siege down the lane, but Faceless are not showing any easy openings. So NewBee are going to be forced to pull out entirely. And Faceless will be granted the extra bit of time to finish those couple of items here.
Interesting build on Nike. So more and more we see Heaven's Halberd being picked up. We saw Sven building one last game. The recent change allows you not be able to actually remove it with a BKB, so that's pretty big deal. Also, the evasion coming out from it is also nice against the heavy right clicker, like a troll.
See the matchup between supports here as we have XY and Faith, but it's all about the core potential right now, and deciding factor between when these teams can really get the itch to take a new fights here. Both are thirsty to kind of breach through those tier 2s, but it ain't coming too easy. Oh, hey, my screen's back. Wonderful. Pipe seems to be getting closer to done, but that is the one we've been waiting for here if you're Faceless. BKB now going to be in hand for Ice. When's the next Nightfall coming? It might be here in just a few seconds.
Yeah, I'm bad at math. 6 times 4, it should be it.
It should be it.
It should be pretty soon.
NewBee, though, have bigger plans. They're eyeballing this Roche pit. They want to make sure that they're going to be the team at first attendance to be able to take it down and get her done. Meanwhile, Faceless move as a unit here, still farming through their ancient camp, not looking to have anyone out and straggled on their own. They're hoping that the next fight they take, they're going to have everyone at attendance. And, well, you can say the same for NewBee. Looks like their Roche does pop up now, and they begin to go to work. How fast can they take it down, though? Faceless have already been able to push out through this mid lane. They ping out the Roche, and they begin heading that direction. Roche has only eaten just barely any damage. The Nightfall comes out, and things could get awkward. Kaka is not able to find the hook.
This is really not a place for NewBee to fight. Okay, they have a hook shot, they have Cogs and Pudge hook, but still against Tinker and the Nighttime plus Jakiro, it's hard to fight into Roche pit.
Ice flying around, just kind of poking up to that high ground, seeing what's going on up there. And NewBee begin scooting themselves back. They're forced to kind of be sat up on this high ground because that's their best advantage, but now they're going to be dishing out the BKB Requiem. Daryl heads out the other direction with his BKB popped. It's going to be Black trying to move into action, but he's locked in place and can't seem to begin swinging, but now he finds Faith, begins to make his move in. KP tries to help out and drops down the cogs in his blade mail, but it's finally going to help get the takedown of Black. Meanwhile, though, it's SSCCC trapped within the ice path, will ultimately get popped. And it's going to be Daryl just slashing away and going at Moogie here. But Moogie winning the man fight on this one. Can Nuts help out Ice here? It looks like they can. They lay down the ice path and begin to dish out the stun power, and they will slowly bring down Team NewBee. It's Faceless on this fight, taking it a 4-for-1 trade.
Yeah, they managed to take down Tinker, but with the Bloodstone charges, he was out pretty soon. Also, Night Stalker can tank so much and buy so much time for his team. They managed to take down the Troll with a Clockwork Hook, and Nikes. Also, Nikes can tank a lot, though. So they need like a heavy burst damage from Tinker to take him down.
Just Faceless feels so freaking durable. Now with the BKBs, they have the mech, Force Staffs, and they're already fat heroes as they are. It's just so much work for NewBee to be able to kind of get takedowns in this game. Kaka, though, running himself on forward, will get the hook pull back onto XY, but can't even get that finish there. Now it's going to be Ice moving into gear. Scratches at him a bit, then they step off. Understanding their spacing, Faceless not looking to overcommit and hand over any freebies to NewBee on this one. Now they totally pull off. Faceless now have been able to kind of establish themselves. They put themselves into a higher position, now sporting about a 7K net worth advantage at this moment. That Roche is still there, and NewBee still want to get it, but Faceless at attendance.
Both BKBs already on Team Faceless. They can't really go into Roche pit against Clockwork, scouting with rockets, hooks. They need to take a fight before they want to take it.
That's what you think. Black runs right in and says, I'm going to take it right now. But they get the hook from the high ground on the other side, but Ice just gobbles up the Pudge like he's no problem at all. Almost welcomes the idea of being pulled into a fight. SCCC squares up with him a bit and decides to run out the other direction. The 4 NewBee members stuck on one side of the high ground here. Could be forced to fight through a very awkward situation into Faceless, but they'll farm the ancient camp in the meantime. Faceless get back into work, going into the Roche here. And just the supports are able to zone back NewBee and prevent them from making it inside. KP could be trying to line up a hook to throw himself in there and disrupt this as much as possible. Okay, but he decides to make the jump. It's going to be on the jabs. He gets a laser off to Faith, but can't quite get the finish. The Macropyre now going to be dropped as both Moogie and SCC try to get themselves into the fight to get the right clicks out. It's going to be Ice and Black on one side. Black manages to get the takedown of Roche and grab of the Aegis. Turns around and begins to take it to Moogie. Moogie eating a lot of damage on the back end will finally be brought down. And they're not done yet. They're going to be moving on forward. Can they get a grab of SCCC? Beautiful ice path going to be there to trap him in place, and Black will get the finish. Pudge comes back into the fight, but goes down just as fast. This fight continues to belong to Faceless.
It all started with Faceless trying to do Roche and Black Ice being hooked out, and then they just killed Pudge over there real quickly, and after that they can just use Tinker's March and Ice Path just to control them so they can't really get into the Roche pit.
The zoning potential of Faceless during that Roche fight was just so nice. It just made it so uncomfortable for NewBee to be able to creep in and get any sort of head start. And now look where we are. Suddenly the tier 3's down, and they're about to lose a Rax. this SCCC. Shadow Fiend is still going to be on the sidelines for nearly 10 seconds, and mid-racks are gone, just like that. We are into a 17K net worth advantage Faceless.
Time to kill a shrine. Aegis is on Troll. This is the second Roche, so Aegis and Cheese. Cheese is being picked up by Night Stalker. That Night Stalker is just a beast right now.
We could be seeing this pick come out just a bit more often.
Well, the thing is, you can't ban out Ice. That's the thing. Don't even bother.
It's really the lesson we seem to be learning here. And I'm also noticing quite a bit of trend here through 7.06. We're seeing a lot of fights happen like this. You take a huge significant fight and suddenly you lose your mid-racks. The way they're able to capitalize on that kind of momentum and just take it to the other side is quite ridiculous. Now,
thing is, yesterday we saw Faceless, and I felt like they were stuck in the previous patch, but seems like they've done some homework, especially Ice. We saw him like 30 minutes ago. He was using his small black book.
Yeah, he had his whole team. They had a nice little huddle. He had the book out, and it was clear Faceless had a game plan for this particular matchup. Maybe reading a bit too in it. It's just game number 1, and things are going pretty damn splendid for him. This one's not over yet. NewBee have to dig deep and pull out some serious potential high ground defense if they want to keep this one alive. Maybe hope for a Faceless overstep. But at this moment, I don't think there's a fight they're going to be able to take if Faceless are ready. And the early pickup of that Solar Crest 2 just feels super valuable for the Night Stalker. I mean, we're anticipating maybe he'd go back to like the cookie cutter buildup you'd see from a lot of Night Stalkers, but you know, it's good adaptation.
Yeah, it was a perfect choice actually for him. Right clickers on NewBee's side, Shadow Fiend with a lot of damage. Right click, also Nikes. Everything he has is a right click pretty much.
Oh, Faceless. They never suspect them to just kind of run themselves back through the mid lane again. They have the sentry down. They know they're safe. He immediately makes the move for Faith, and Faith is gone. See you later, TI champion.
Whoa.
Pudge is going to be going down too. And suddenly there are no supports left for NewBee here, and they're going to be forced to dish out a buyback onto Faith to help out with this defense. Black already going to work onto this tier 3. It does not stand much of a chance. Now going to be dragged into action here. SCCC looking to go for the Requiem, but Black doesn't care. He's got a Black King bar. Easily shrugs it off and just begins to chop away at everybody. Get the hell out of the way. This troll's going to work. Him and the Night Stalker have been just an absolutely fearsome duo in this game. It is frightening.
GG is called. I must say this Night Stalker pick, that was right out of that book.
That was out of that Night Stalker book. It's funny because I was talking a bit with Winter as well, and he's always a comical kind of a guy. He's looking at this matchup, and he's like, oh, 2 terrible teams going at it right now.
He didn't say terrible.
He said 2 dumpster teams, right?
No,
what did
he said
say?
2 garbage teams.
Garbage teams. He
Yeah.
said 2 garbage teams going toe-to-toe. And he kind of dropped the hint like, you know, it'd be a dumpster fire because maybe a macro pyre would show up. But I was not suspecting the Night Stalker. That was something in the book that not even Winter wanted to dish out, or something that Ice had here. Whatever the case may be, I think you hit it. You said it right. Maybe don't put all of your bans on Ice.
Maybe just don't ban anything for off lane, and he's gonna get whatever he feels comfortable. Ice is that type of a hero, type of a player that he can make anything work pretty much.
It was a wonderful showing there for Faceless. NewBee, you're going to try to bounce back to keep this to a Game 3 series, but props to Faceless on this one. Let's throw things back over to Nahaz and the panel to see their thoughts on